Why in the hell have you brought us to a place like this, Krills? We are like fish out of fucking water in here.
The bouncers are on the level, Vince. I managed to convince them that I was a boozing buddy of Pete Doherty.
Who the fuck's Pete Doherty when he's at home?
Just some ragamuffin rock star with scant regard for his appearance who likes to indulge too much. I met him in the hospital earlier and he told me to drop by and watch his band.
So where is the cunt?
Your guess is as good as mine. I've something special to tell you in any case. The old stream or the shelter just didn't seem appropriate.
You and your fucking surprises, Krills. I can't say they ever fill me with anything but trepidation.
Flip me, Vince. I was in O'Reilly's hardware earlier and a man with a camera jumped out at me and started taking pictures.
And because of this paparazzi-esque incursion you think you're best mates with some little shit stick called Doherty?
Not in the slightest. But don't you think you'd feel odd if some stranger was flashing their camera at you?
Now I'm with you. It's only because you've got a bit of form. Ought to be a law against jumping out at people. Anything to sell papers, Krills, put it to the back of your mind.
You've picked me up wrong again, Vince. He was taking me picture cause I was the 10,000th customer since the shop opened. The prize is a pair of tickets to the Med and €500 spending money.
Vous êtes né sous un bon étoile, mon enfant, roughly translates as you were born lucky, my child. Geez, Krills, you don't have a roof over your head per se and yet you're off on an all expenses paid jolly. Only fucking you could land something like this. Least you deserve, mind, after the catalogue of misadventures you've had of late.
Thing is, Vince, it's tickets for 2 I won, and the first thing I did was call round to Maureen's to see if she'd join me, maybe as a basis for taking me back. But Maureen's got a new man in her life now, and said I wasn't to bother her again or she'd call the guards, so I was going to ask you to join me instead.
Really?
Best mates and that. Please say you'll come.
I must say I'm extremely flattered. €500 is a lot of spending money. Are you sure there's no catches?
Well, there was some small print about having to feature in O'Reilly's up-and-coming sales promotion, but Mr. O'Reilly said he'd make an exception in my case because I seemed like, how did he put it? A busy young man with more pressing issues afoot.
The condescending bollocks. Where exactly on the Med did they say they were sending you?
I'm sure they told me, Vince, but with the flashes of that camera I was a bit dazed.
I'm sure you were. I wonder, do you even have to head away on holiday? Perhaps you can just cash the whole lot in and go fucking berserk.
Afraid not, Vince. That's one thing I do recall. The only alternative to the holiday is the equivalent value of in-store credit, the fellow said as he was discreetly ushering me off the premises.
Some people take your money then ridicule you. It's a tough call. You're talking about €1,000 minimum store credit. To make going to the sun worthwhile we need to find out what a litre of the cheapest booze at our destination works out at and compare that to a litre of the cheapest paint stripper in O'Reilly's.
So what now? Head back to O'Reilly's and find out where this holiday is, Vince?
Attaboy. We ask them how much the total credit comes to and how many litres of industrial strength alcohol they could give us for that price. Then we drop into a random travel agent and ask them for some info on the cost of the most affordable supermarket inebriant at our given destination. Best make it sound like a deal clincher so as to make them keen. They can find out what we need to know from their computer.
Great thinking, Vince. Now, what will we drink on the way to O'Reilly's?
As luck would have it, one of the men split his chin open last night falling over. There was such a fuss when I got back to the shelter. This new volunteer, a young girl barely out of her teens, was running around like a headless chicken. There was a first aid kit lying open on the hallway table in which a large packet of antiseptic swabs lay. My dear heart, those things are 90% alcohol.
Ring the bastards just like those firelighters and get off our faces on the tingling residue.
Manon, slip one under your tongue like a lozenge and let nature take its course. Alcohol is absorbed quicker into the bloodstream via the mouth. We've 10 each. I'll hold on to 5 of yours just in case you imagined this holiday whilst sleeping in that river. You're obsessed with fucking hardware stores almost as much as that river.
But the flashing camera, Vince. There was no mistaking that.
May have been a policeman's torch, Krills. Say by now they've given up fishing you out, the guards, and were just checking in case it was some other young dipshit that was sleeping in the river.
Where should we go after our visit to the travel agents?
I thought you said you had a mate called Doherty that was hoping to meet you here. If he's as big a fucking rock star as you make out, he can buy us drinks all night.
Did I, Vince? I don't recall the name. Some fellow gave me a pull of a joint earlier and me head's all over the show.
Believe me when I tell you, every day is a toss of the dice with this young gibbon.